My man,
How you doing?
all good. Thank you so much for being on the live. I love your energy, man. So happy to have you here.
Great. It's great to be here too. Appreciate you.
So, so I believe let's start with no money, no honey.
No money, no honey, man. If you're not making money, you're not gonna get that honey, man. It's all connected, right?
So the both are connected. Let's fucking go and no money, no honey, right?
Yeah. What
This
happened
is
was
what you go with.
our show's producer Chance. The guy's great. I mean, one day we were one of the first videos we ever did outside of my office here in Florida. I'm walking around. I'm talking to my VP of sales. We were having a slow day. I'm trying to and be like, listen, we got to get some sales. Let's go. What's going on, man? No money, no honey. So as I'm talking, the things are coming to my, I grew up in New York, New Jersey. I like old school rap, Nas, Wu Tang, all those guys, and I used to freestyle, and I don't know. I like when it rhymes, it's like making love to your ears, right? It's like good melodies. So in sales, you need to be motivated all day long. And when you say something like that, listen, no money, no honey, it makes you laugh. Like, yeah, you're fucking right. No money, no honey. If I don't get this money, guess what? I'm not getting no honey. My kids aren't gonna fucking survive. I can't keep my I can't pay my mortgage, my rent, whatever. So, if you can't listen, money doesn't solve all problems, but it solves a lot of problems. So, if you're making money, you're getting that honey, you're solving a lot of problems. Is really what it comes down to.
Yeah. So why not? So David, what do you generally think about Pakistan and the young workforce over here? So I just want to begin with that.
Well, first and foremost, and thank you for having me on here, and thank you for everyone for joining. It says a lot about you. Like I said, 24 hours ago, I don't even think you made the announcement 24 hours ago. Maybe you made the
Yeah.
announcement like, 15 hours ago. So the people that are on here, congratulate yourselves because you gotta do what you can in life to get an edge and get an advantage, right? And by going ahead and being part of Sheikh's inner circle here, you already made that decision by following him. He's someone that's successful, that's put time and effort. He's had success. I believe success leaves clues. He worked with Grant Cardone organization, learned how to media buy, and now you got your own offer. You have your own program, and you're motivating people around the world, actually. So to answer your question, do I'm in sales, I'm in internet marketing, and you got to follow the money, right? The money
Yeah.
never stops flowing. It always flows. You could have, listen, Nvidia, everyone knows Nvidia, artificial
Yeah.
intelligence, AI. Their stock was getting killed for a long time. It went to $120 just over a year ago. I actually bought it. I sold too early. It's like the other day it was over like 1400 before the split. It went up 14x, and the money was flowing out of, right, artificial intelligence, then it went back in like crazy and then went up. So that happens the same thing with emerging markets, emerging economies. I believe Pakistan, the countries that you're surrounded by, India, are big emerging economies. It's only going to continue to grow. And capital goes to where they can get results, right? And from what I see, I've worked with a lot of people in Pakistan. Ali Janjua, I've worked with him. He's a good friend of mine, very successful there too. I've done a lot of good campaigns with him with his call center. And what I can tell you is that it just comes down to results. So I feel like people in Pakistan work hard. They're very hard workers. If I had to go pound for pound versus the average American, I see Pakistanis work harder, which is, it is the truth. I mean, Pakistanis work hard. A lot of people in foreign countries work hard. It's a culture of hard work ethic, and I think also, there's hunger. A lot of the most successful business founders, business owners, salespeople got that hunger, right? They're hungry, and I think you combine that hunger with people who are trying to do better and money flowing there. You have the recipe for a lot of success. So I think that, if I could bet on the Pakistani economy, I would say it's a good bet, and that you should see the economy continue to grow there because you have hard workers, you have an educated
Yeah.
workforce trying to get more educated. So I think it's very good time to be alive if you're in Pakistan. Listen, I know things aren't easy there. Right? Don't get me wrong. I don't live there. But from what I read, there's a lot of, there's poverty and stuff. But for people that are willing to work hard and to surround themselves with the right people, to read books, we'll talk about that later, and to get better every single day, you can get yourself and lift yourself up and start to dominate, make a
Yeah.
lot of money, and do a lot of good things for your family.
I believe, hunger is the most important ingredient, and if we just add a little bit direction to it, then it really starts working, and things change very fast.
Yeah, 100%.
So, David, you've done a great job at Solar. You have done sales, marketing, call centers, and a lot of things. But how do you define yourself and about your core expertise, the things that have given you the most edge so far till date?
The edge of sales. I've said this before. I have a podcast, a show called the LFG Show. Everyone on here, please subscribe on YouTube. Please subscribe on Instagram.
You've done a great job with all the content. I'd never miss any podcast over there.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate it. We just started a few months ago and we're getting a lot of good feedback. So to answer your question, I say sales is the most important aspect because I say this on the show and we have John Castle just joined. I saw him on there. He also has a great show as well, the John Castle Show. Follow him as well. But I think it was with him or someone else where I said that I believe that sales is the great equalizer in society. It doesn't matter how rich, how poor, if you're black, white, brown, gay, if you're willing to work hard and bust your ass and you're willing to learn how to sell, you're going to make money no matter what. If you have that hunger, if you there's people, I know some guys that are worth $1 billion, right? And they're like they're mentors to me. These guys are still fucking hungry. You think these guys were still poor. And that's why that guy is worth $1 billion is going to be worth 10 billion, 20 billion, 50 billion. I mean, they're trying to change the world is what they're trying to do. They find a purpose beyond them. So to answer your question, I think the commonality or the edge really comes in sales. And I didn't want to do sales. I don't think anybody wants to do sales. Sales is not easy. We're not born we're not born to do sales. I mean, we want comfort. You come out of the womb, you're a baby, you want food, you want love, you want support, right? You and all that stuff. So that it's when you hear a no or you get rejected, it's not easy. But you got to kind of look at that. I see sales as a numbers game. The more no's you get, that means you're closer to a yes. Is what it comes down to. So you have to be like, fuck it, I got another no, great. Got another no, great. And then you get that yes. It's fantastic. It's almost like freaking. It's like sex. It's like I've had guys on my team that were ex drug addicts, right? They get a big sale, make a lot of money. They're like, damn, Dave, this shit is better than crack. You know? I mean, that sounds fucking crazy to say, but that's sales is addictive, and to me, it's a good addiction.
Yeah.
Instead of being on drugs or on pornography or whatever bullshit is out there to take your money, learn how to sell. And when I say sell, you sell a product that also provides value. And it's not like if you sell a bullshit product, you're not going to have long term results. You need to have a product that adds value to your clients or to your employees, everybody. So when you can sell and you have a product that adds value in a growing market, I mean, it's off to the races. To answer your question, I say sales, sales, sales. Everyone listening to the show, learn how to sell. If you're already selling, get better at sales. Be part of your inner circle. Follow people that know how to sell. Right now, we live in the era where information. When I was a kid, man, I had to go to a fucking library. There was no computers. I had to go in an 80-year-old lady trying to show me where the hell the books are. She's walking slow. Now you just type your fingers, you go online, you find all the information. You go on Instagram. There's people on Instagram making tons of money. You follow them, they'll give you the keys to what you need to do. Success leaves clues. So nowadays it's easier than ever. As long as you got that hunger, that desire, you can make a lot of money.
So I had this question already because you ask everyone like what was your LFG moment and when did you get your like what were the major realizations that changed your life and everything that you were doing?
There's been so many, I feel like everyone has multiple LFG moments at different parts of your life, I mean, but the first one I could think about, I said this on the show with John as well. My very first podcast I ever filmed, I always think about this. I was 23 years old. I went to NYU, New York University Business School, one of the top 10 business schools in America. But I felt like a loser because I didn't have a job. The American economy went like this. It went from this to this. And the reason that happened was you had the dot-com bubble. All these internet companies came out making a lot of money. Google was out. All these publicly traded companies, the stock market was up 5x, and it hit a peak in October 2022, right around the time I graduated college. And then it started going down, or actually, yeah, right around that time. The 9/11 happened before that. All these things happened that were bad for the economy, and I was looking to make money. I graduated with a lot of debt, student loan debt. I couldn't find a job. It was hard. But I answered an ad as a bond broker selling bonds, asking people in New Jersey for $10,000. And imagine asking someone for $10,000 that doesn't know who the fuck you are. Like, who the fuck are you? I'm not sending you $10,000. But the guy told me, my boss, who was making at that time $500,000 a year, was like, David, all you got to do is make 300 phone calls a day. You're going to talk to 50 to 60 people. Out of the 50 to 60 people, 3 to 5 are going to turn into a lead. 80% of those people are going to be bullshit. They're never going to answer the phone again. But you put them in a box, you call them the next week, you pitch 10 people, and one will turn into a sale. And he was right. And I don't know. I started selling people pretty regularly, $10,000, $20,000, and then I still wasn't too happy though. I was like, this shit sucks. But then one day I talked to a guy that I knew had a lot of money saved. He had like $10 million in bonds. He was an 80-year-old man that had a house in New Jersey and in Florida. And my boss, the guy who made his name was Stu, he said, David, remember one thing, and this is something for the audience here. In life, you get what you ask for, right? And he said, you're asking for too little money. You're only asking for $10,000 to $20,000. Next, on your next call, I want you to ask for 50,000 to 100,000. Ask the guy, does he want 50 or does he want 100? So I'm like, shit, all right, I'm 23 years old, I'm broke. This guy's fucking 80, he's got multiple houses, millions of dollars. How's he gonna listen to me? But whatever. I said the pitch, and at the very end, I said, how many you want? You want 50 or you want 100? And then he paused. I heard him shuffling some papers, like, well, I can do 50, but I think I have another bond coming due next week. Yeah, actually, I do. I'll do 100. And when he said that, I was like, holy shit, this guy just bought $100,000 worth of bond. I forgot to put the phone on mute. I told my boss, I fucking got him. I closed him like this, right? I'm celebrating. Meanwhile, the fucking phone is still off the. It's still, he could hear me. And I was nervous. I didn't know what to do to fill this order. So I come back to him. I'm like, hey, Mr. Whatever. It's like, David, I just heard everything you said. And I thought he was going to say, fuck you. I'm not buying for you anymore. Next time, use the mute button. Don't worry. I'm not canceling. I like the enthusiasm. Just use the mute button next time.
So how do we frame these sales lessons for the our community? So for example, if we're talking about freelancers, if we're talking about small agencies over here, so what would be your value nuggets when it comes to sales for the community? So for example, if we're aiming at 5,000, 3,000 per ticket, 10,000 per ticket.
Yeah, well, it comes down to you have to know your numbers. Like any business knows their numbers. And when you're a salesperson, it doesn't matter if you're working for IBM, if you're working for Google, if you're working for yourself, you're working for somebody, right? And the bottom line is that you got to know you're working for yourself is what I'm trying to say. If you work for IBM, they might be paying you, but you're really working for yourself. You're a business within a business. So what I would say is that it's like any athlete, any great athlete in the world knows how many calories they have to ingest a day. They know how much rest they got to get per day. As a salesperson, you're a mental athlete, is what you are, right? So I would say is you have to frame your mind as being a mental athlete, and you need to keep track. What I'm trying to say, the long story short, is keep track of your numbers. How many calls are you making per day? How many, the same formula I said before. If you make 300 calls, how many people are answering the phone? What's your contact rate? Out of the people that answer the phone, how many are you turning into a sale? You need to know your metrics. So if you know right now you just started into sales and you've only been doing this a month, and for every 1,000 calls you make, one turns into a sale, you should be like, how the fuck do I get that to 900 calls turning to a sale? You got to listen to your calls, listen to what's going on. Where are you getting stuck? You need to become obsessed with being better. How do you become obsessed with being better? You have to watch yourself. You have to measure yourself. You have to know your stats. How many calls am I making? How many sales am I making? Okay, if it takes 1,000, how do I get to 900? Read more books. Listen to my calls. If someone's saying not interested to me, and I'm stuck, get better or not. Go online. Go to YouTube and be like, what's a good rebuttal to not interested? And get yourself 3 or 4 and practice. Look in the mirror, practice them until it becomes natural, right? And then guess what happens?
Yeah.
Now look at your numbers for every 1,000 calls. Maybe you go to 800. Now what you do, you're making some money. Maybe you get a coach. Maybe you hire a sales coach to get you better. Now you go from one. You have to invest in yourself, guys. A lot of people don't. They say, oh, I'm broke. Then fucking make money somewhere. Do what you got to
Yeah.
do. There's
Yeah.
fucking people on OnlyFans showing pictures of their feet and making tons of fucking money. There's ways to make money. There's so many ways to make money online right now. It's
The
crazy.
kind of comments, the kind of DMs I get when it comes to sales and outreach, so I suggest the same, okay, outreach on Instagram, on LinkedIn, everywhere. And the kind of messages I get is like, I've sent 150 messages and I've got no response from that. How would you reply that?
Send more fucking messages. Send more messages. Sales is a numbers game, guys. You can be, I don't know where everyone lives, or I don't know, like you can go to the capital of Pakistan right now. You can have a bag of poop in your hands. You have to talk to 100, 200, 1,000. Someone will buy that bag of poop. Maybe they need fertilizer. You can have the worst product in the world. Someone will buy that fucking product, right?
Makes sense.
And it's a matter of maybe what it's a numbers game. So maybe you have to send more messages. Have a coach look at your messages, or someone that you know that's good at sales, and be like, hey, how is this message? Is this maybe your message sucks? Maybe there's a word. Maybe you have a spelling error in there, and if you're not spelling it right, I got a guy I do business with. He's in another country. I love the guy, but the guy makes fucking spelling errors, and I'm like, you got to
Mhm.
stop with these fucking spelling errors, man. So you have to make sure you're presenting yourself properly. So make sure sales is about emotion. People make decisions about based on emotion. So if you send 150 DMs, that doesn't sound like a lot. I say send 1,000 DMs and see what your number is. Send 500 to 1,000. See how what the response rate is with this one. You got to split test. Split test the 500 messages to 1,000 messages with the copy that you have. Get an expert to look at the copy. Like, hey, how can I tweak my copy? Fix the copy and now look to see if it changed. Maybe for every 500 you got one person to respond, but now you fix the copy and now you got. If you get two people to respond, you doubled your output. That's huge. So two
Yeah.
might not seem like it's a lot, but you just double your output. Sales and business is a numbers game. So if you can make incremental progress every single day, you're going to get better. But I'm all about collapsing time frames. I don't have a lot of fucking time anymore, right? Time is money. Now I have a good team. I've got two assistants, right? They help me out a lot, a chief of staff. So you got to really read. There's a book called Who, Not How. If you're someone that's been doing sales and you're making some good money, it's time to reinvest into some who's. Hire some who's that can help you. Hire an assistant that can free up your day, free up your calendar, and make sure and weed out your opportunities. If you're someone that's brand new, a who for you could be an expert. It could be you. You're a sales expert, right? It could be there's other sales experts out there. If you find somebody, you follow them on Instagram, send them DMs, read books, find out who can help you get better. So I would say send more messages, refine the message that you're sending, and get a who that's an expert at sales or in copywriting to look at what you're writing to see if they can help you move the needle. Hope
Okay.
that helps you out.
Definitely, definitely. These are some, I think, the biggest needle movers. I wanted to talk a little bit about paper call model as it is like very much, I believe, related to digital marketing and overall marketing
Yeah.
industry. For a layman, what do you think that can anyone jump into or explore the paper call, paper lead model, or is it like, for what kind of a person or a business this model is ideal, or would suggest to look into?
Yeah. So listen, I knew nothing about leads, right? And I learned about it. I became obsessed with it. Let me tell you how I got into it because I think that how you how you get into any business, whether it's leads or whatever, you have to do your research. I did an interview with Sean Kelly, who's got over 100 million views on YouTube. He had a podcast he started last year, about 14 months ago, zero followers. Now he's got millions of followers, right? Before he does anything, he does a ton of research. He researches the shit out of what he
Yeah, I
does.
saw that
You
clip. I
saw that,
saw
right?
that clip. That was
So
crazy.
yeah, so you have to have an edge, man, because at the end of time is limited, right? You can everyone here can, no matter what your circumstances, I guarantee you there's ways for you to make money. And then you got to find out what's going to be the best use of your time. So to answer your question, I got into solar lead gen almost by accident. The
So
reason I
you
got into solar lead
were
gen,
initially into leads generation, right?
no, I was running a call center. I started my company as a side hustle. This
Okay.
was a side hustle for me because listen, I've been in call centers my whole life, right? Running call centers. A lot of times you get a call center that becomes an expert that becomes fantastic that winds up starting their own business. Most good call center reps are the best ones are sales rock stars. Sales rock stars are addicted to making money. So what happens is they try to start their own businesses. So I know a lot of guys from being in the call center world that were making a lot of money that try to start businesses. They try to get into debt settlement and then they were moving to they were moving into solar. So one of my buddies who he wound up getting a job at a solar company that was growing. He needed leads. He knew that I get access to leads. I was setting appointments for solar companies. So I started setting him appointments. And then when I needed more volume, I started to broker leads for him. What I'm trying to say is I had an edge because I knew this guy. He trusted me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to have some sort of edge if you're going to get the leads. If you don't have like a contact, like if anybody here knows people in call centers that are starting their own business or people that run call centers need leads, right?
Yeah.
But you have to make sure your leads actually work. Because the other thing is, when you sell a product, one reason salespeople have bad reputations is because of selling bad products. So you have to make sure your leads are good. Initially, you're probably going to lose money on these tests. You're probably going to have to maybe call the leads yourself to make sure they're good, but you have to know your data. You have to know your conversion percentage on those leads. I knew
Yeah.
my leads were good because I was calling the leads myself. I had a small team calling. I knew my KPIs. I knew my friend was an animal that got trained by me. I know that I told him, bro, I'm gonna send you fucking leads, but you better work the fucking leads.
Yeah.
If you don't work the leads, it's your like I said that so I could talk to him that way because I knew him.
Yeah.
There was a trust factor. The leads worked. Off a $1,500 spend, he got a sale. That
So
company.
it was lead generation through ads. You were doing media buying
Well,
at that
no, I
time.
was brokering. I was getting leads from other people, and I was brokering the leads. I would buy the leads for, let's say, um, $50 and sell them for 55, $60. I was brokering them, and then I eventually started to build out in-house teams. But you got to start somewhere. So I started by knowing this guy, and the funny thing is, I still do business with that company. 8 years later, they spent like $10 million with me in solar leads. I'm going to interview one of the owners tomorrow in his penthouse in front of New York tomorrow. But the bottom line is that I had an edge because I knew call centers, I knew the KPIs, I had the solar leads, I had the relationship. And remember one thing, the biggest thing is that the lead game is a relationship business. I had a relationship that got my foot in the door, and I did the right thing by this guy. I gave him good leads. Sometimes the leads weren't good. I didn't charge him for those leads. So
Mm.
the key is that I was looking for long-term gain versus short-term gain with the guy because I knew that the company was growing, and they grew.
Yeah.
They went from 14 million a year to 500 million a year. And I
Crazy.
still do business with them to this day. So the point is that I had an edge because I worked in call centers my whole life. People trusted me. I managed them. They looked up to me in a leadership role. The guy came to me for help. If someone comes to you for help and you can help them out in business, you're golden. That person will
Yeah.
refer you people all your life. So who in your life that's in business around can you help? Can you add value to? That's my advice. I added value to this guy. I made him look good. He made me look good. He sent me more business, and I'm still doing business with him 8 years later. That's very rare in my world. Most campaigns don't last more than like 3, 6 months. I've got a campaign running for 8 years that started off. That was my LFG moment, another LFG moment for me right there. And then,
Can't hear. Good now. Good now.
did I answer the question? I want to talk about pay per call too.
Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify that. So you started lead generation before. It was you were not generating your own leads. You were just buying them, right?
Correct.
And then you pivoted towards leads to calls, right?
No, we do. So I have a lot of different companies. It all falls under one holding company. So we have a pay per call division, and we have a live lead division, and we have an age data division, which is good because we have multiple divisions. The age data division, though, will probably be out of business in late January because of a new law where we're really not going to be able to resell age data end of January. So I'm glad I diversified, and I've got the web lead, also the pay per call going as well, right?
Hmm.
So pay per call to me is going to continue to grow tremendously. I'm really excited about pay per call.
Hmm.
So I'm diversified. We have different revenue streams. We have a call center too in Colombia as well that's doing a great job. So we have multiple divisions, and I did that because when I first started, my income was up and down like crazy, and a lot of my income depended on one company. And I couldn't. I got tired of living that way, So I decided I have to get more. I need to have more clients. I need to have more verticals. I can't just rely on solar. I need to do home improvement. I need to do debt. So I'm always looking for where the money is flowing, so I know which markets to go after and
So
target. And
I'll drop
sometimes
a
it works,
couple
sometimes it
of
doesn't. Huh?
So I'll drop a couple of knife questions. We can make it, quick just for the better understanding of the business models, right? So I was trying to understand that, as a layman, if we understand this, leads and calls, that is the most valuable thing for any business, right? And if you can do either leads or calls, there is definitely a very good opportunity to make money out of it. That right? It works like this.
Yeah, 100. It comes down to added value. If your leads are converting well, people are going to want those leads because you're helping them make more money, right?
Yeah,
So keep that's why you got to test different campaigns. But yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a lead or call or age data, whatever it is, it's going to do well. What I would say is that transfers are becoming hot right now because a lot of these call centers they're weak. They don't know how to outbound dial. They get someone says not interested, they fucking cry, hang up, get nervous, whatever, right? So the point is that if you do the heavy lifting for these call centers and you can do the hard part, digging for the gold and give them a piece of gold, that makes their job a lot easier. Unless you have the right. Sometimes there are clients I have that are phenomenal call centers, but truthfully, it's probably 10 or 15%. Most of them, you can give them the greatest lead in the world, and they fuck it up. So to answer your question, as long as you whether it's a transfer, whether it's a lead or paper call lead, they're all good. I think the paper call leads and the transfers are usually better because there's a higher intent. The hardest
yeah.
part is getting the person on the phone. You already have them on the phone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So how do you link that generating call or generating lead with media buying? Like, what's the role of media buying and ads in all of these industries? What's your take on it?
Well, without the media buying, there's no leads, right? And I'm not a medium buying expert. I have guys I work with that are, but
Hmm.
it's all connected because you can have the greatest media buyer in the world, and a lot of the best media buyers are not salespeople. They're very
Yeah,
analytical. They don't even want to talk to people. They just want to be in front of a computer. It's almost like a gamer, someone that plays
yeah,
video games all
yeah,
day long. They
yeah, yeah,
they stay focused, and it's like that's their obsession, right? So a lot of media buyers, they'll team up with someone like me or my group that knows how to sell or manage accounts because again, you could have the best leads in the world, but if you're not managing accounts, if you're not getting new accounts, you're not going to be able to grow. The name of any business is sales. If without sales, there's no growth,
yeah,
right? So the key is that you got to have good communication with the media buyers, and the media buyers got to be willing to test and spend money. There's guys that they'll spend 10, 20, $30,000 on a campaign before it
hmm,
works and they're willing to stomach that. There's other people that might have a lower tolerance. Even the guys that spend 20, 30 grand a day. I know some of them that only spend $50 per day when they start, 50 to $100 a day, because they feel like that's enough to test with. So to answer your question, the media buying is without it's like the chicken and the egg, right? I mean,
yeah,
really without the
yeah,
media buying, there's no leads that you can sell. So you need to have
yeah.
you need to either have a good internal media buying team or to team up with a team that knows how to media buy, and then they need a business development team to sell the leads and to manage the accounts to grow the accounts. That's a
Yeah,
connection.
the reason why I asked this question because I keep, I'm very curious when it comes to all of these internet things, and I keep following, learning, researching. I see that there are a lot of uh, alternates out there which people talk about and maybe use as well, like data scrapping. Most of the call centers, I believe, they don't media buy because that does not make numbers sense to them, and they instead buy the data from somewhere from the internet. So how do you compare these channels like media buying versus scraping the data or buying the data from some website?
Well, that's a good question because first, you got to be careful where you buy data from because this is the one thing I'm going to say. A lot of Pakistani Indian call centers have a bad reputation in America because they've gotten, not everyone. I've worked with great ones like Ali, like I mentioned before. So this is how you separate yourself. If you're someone that's a call center, you got to bring it out there. When you're talking to someone in America, listen, I know there's been a lot of call centers in my country that have burned you. We're not going to do that by you. This is what we do. So the problem, what I'm trying to say is that when you buy leads online, you don't know if the data is compliant. The issue is that when I say compliant, you need to have the person's permission to call them, right? So when you get cheap data, it comes with a price at the end later on. I mean, I've been burned in the past. I spent a lot of money on lawsuits because we made mistakes in the beginning. Now I have a big team that does compliance. If we buy data from anybody, we audit them, we check, we make sure it's legitimate. There's a lot of fraud going on right now and there's farms where they put fake information on there. There's a big there's a big push to get rid of that stuff. So the point is that when you buy data online from a cheap source, it's probably cheap for a reason. You're better off buying data, spending a little bit more money for something that's more compliant, that is compliant, that has the permission to call. And that's how you're going to keep your customers. Because if you get a bad reputation, it's not good. I mean, reputation is everything in this business. Remember what I said, it's a relationship business. So if you burn the company, they're going to tell this person who's going to tell that person. And before you know it, your income goes down dramatically just because you try to save a little bit of money. So I would say don't go the cheap route, get good quality data. So when it comes to you to answer your question, the more expensive data, the media buying data is going to be
Most
bet
qualified one?
It's going to be more qualified, but it's going to be way more expensive. I
Yeah.
believe pound for pound, age compliant data will perform better for your bottom line, right? At the end of the day, but it depends on your model. If you have a big call center that needs cheap data that's compliant, spend a little bit more for age compliant data. If you're someone newer that's coming into the game, you might have to, bite the bullet and buy, get more expensive data to prove yourself, get good quality, right? Or maybe get some shared data.
Yeah.
There's times you buy shared data where it goes to two people, you can be the third person and you pay a little bit less and it still pops, right? So it really depends on your model. But the way I would answer your question is that the age compliant data to me, pound for pound, is the best data. The problem is that becomes illegal in America January 25th. So if you're gonna do it, there's not much time left to do it. You gotta do it sooner than later.
Yeah.
And then we have a data company that sells data too.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to reach out to us and talk about it, I mean, we can help you out with that.
So, I would like to have your take on it. I myself, a hardcore media buyer. I'm all into all I know is digital marketing. I don't know anything else. I believe as it's a skill. Media buying, digital marketing, social media, and content. I believe there's something which is even more valuable than the skill, and that is the business model. So, for example, I told you like we have a community of 30,000 people who are into the marketing space, into media buying. So I feel like, having this responsibility of sharing the opportunities and, just opening up their minds when it comes to the business models. Because like, job is one business model, freelancing, it's another one, doing your own e-commerce is another business model, right? I What fascinates me the most, because you're working on the internet, you need to look at the scale. You need to look at the numbers. So, for example, affiliate marketing is one of the business models, right?
Yep.
So, as a media buyer, what do you think? How is the pay per call business model for individual media buyers or a digital marketing agency? Should they explore it? And if yes, then how? Like, how would a beginner look at it?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And I would say if you're a beginner, you need to learn the basics, right? Spend time. Don't just jump into it. Learn. Do your research, like I said before. And then I got this book here, The Paper Call Revolution. This book
Yeah,
right here, everyone
that
take a picture of it.
this one
Yeah.
is in my to-do list. I need to read this one.
Yeah, we're sponsored by Ringbo, which is the best call tracking platform in the industry right now. Adam Young, he's the author of this book. He's a legend in the space. He's a good friend of mine. And I was gonna say that this book right here gives you, it tells you whether you're a beginner or you're someone that's been doing this a long time, how to start a campaign, how to test. It tells you about the psychology of consumers. So I would say start off by reading that book. There's also an audible version of the book as well. If you're not a reader, you want to listen, because I do both. Everyone's different. So I say get the Paper Call Revolution to learn about it, right? And then he gives you all these different ideas. I did a podcast with Adam as well. It was a 3 hour podcast I did with Adam. We should have charged for this podcast. It's incredible. Watch that podcast. I would say read the book, watch the podcast, because it's just incredible. He really goes deep into it. People pay Adam a lot of money. They pay money for his masterminds. We did a mini mastermind online. You can find the podcast on YouTube. It's on my channel too, on the LFG show. But listen to that. He goes into it. And then it goes back to what I said in the beginning. If you happen to know someone that needs debt settlement calls for people who have credit card debt in America, or they need, I don't know, online education calls, right? Start researching the vertical as well. Start researching the market. And then what'll happen is start doing a little test, get some money together and maybe spend $20 a day, $50 a day. Like he goes deep, he goes step by step into what you need to do. So I would say read the book, listen to the book,
Can you show
watch the podcast.
the book again? Everyone
Yeah.
is saying, well, I've seen a lot of
Here.
comments. It's
The,
called Paper Call Revolution.
it's a paper call revolution. If you want to get into paper call, this is your book. Watch the podcast I did with Adam. It's a mini mastermind. It's free. It's free too. It's like the podcast I did with him. And this book, I don't know how it works in Pakistan. I know in America, all you have to do is pay for shipping and handling to get the books. I don't know how it works in Pakistan for it, but either way, if it's $10, $20, it's so worth it. It's like he should be charging $1,000 for this book. There's so much value to this. And I would say get the book. This is the way to get going. Look, there's freaking money coming out the telephone. I mean, that's what happens when you learn paper call. Money comes out your fucking phone right into your bank account.
Yeah. Cool, super interesting. So if I conclude what we have discussed in the last 5 to 7 minutes, so for media buying is the one of the most essentials for this industry, for paper call, paper lead, and all this call center BPO industries. So whoever is a media buyer or a media buying agency should look into this business model, right?
Yeah, look into that, and also make sure that you're going to shows. I mean, Affiliate World is a show that's in Hungary in the hell is it, September. It's in Dubai, it's in Bangkok. You gotta be proximity is power. You gotta be around the people that are making money in pay per call or lead gen. If you have to listen to them. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to the John Castle podcast. Subscribe to the affiliate marketing show with Adam Young. Subscribe to the LFG show. Like, we talk about these things, right? And then once the thing is, it's a law of attraction. If you start surrounding yourself around people that are doing it, all of a sudden you're going to be targeted for ads for this shit. You're going to get more of those. You're going to have more of these guys or girls that are doing it, and you follow them. And then you start going to the shows. You start talking to them. I can't emphasize enough how going to these shows has made me so much fucking money. Being at those international shows, being the domestic shows. I'm about to do a mastermind in Colombia. We'll do a live stream. We'll let your audience know. We're gonna do one in August. We're gonna have some heavy hitters. I'm gonna have guys doing 300, $400,000 a day in pay-per-call, speaking on stage. Michael Walker's one of them. We did an interview with him on the podcast in Colombia. He had a $350,000 day. He did. So, and he started knowing nothing about this 10 years ago. It doesn't matter where you are. I mean, the fact that they can do it means you can do it. So the point is that subscribe to the shows, start listening to them, read these books, and before you know, your mind will start attracting these things. And then you start doing campaigns. You might lose money in the beginning. You probably will lose money, but that's okay. You got to lose money before you make money. You got to, I got a baby, a 10-month-old. He's starting to walk, hits his head every day, cries, then he's back. His head gets stronger, right? It's the same
You,
shit in business.
you've got
Yeah,
all the good
yeah,
examples.
yeah. Because it's true. I mean, everything to me is an example in life. I mean, it
Yeah.
is what it is. What are you going to do? I mean, you fuck up, you lose money. Hey, what did I learn from this? Learn from it, get up again, and fucking go do it again. That's all you got to do, man. And then you do that daily. Before you know it, shit starts to take off from you.
David, you travel a lot. Have you ever thought about visiting Pakistan
I'd
anytime
love
soon?
to be there. I want to go. I got to get it. I don't know when I'll be there, but I bet you within the next 2 to 3 years I'll be there. I'll hit you up.
So, I'll jump to the next two or three questions we have left. So you, man, you network with, you meet and you talk to people from all the different industries. So you've got that network, that exposure. What are the opportunities in the digital space till date which has like fascinated you the most so
You're
far?
talking about like specific verticals or opportunities.
Generally, like for example, it's paper call or it's selling data, buying data, whatever. matlab, could be anything on internet.
I mean, I love it all. And what I love, when I fly in America, we're not doing as much solar as we used to. Solar's got a lot of issues now, the interest rates, and there's less capital for solar companies. We still do it, but nowhere like we used to. But
Hmm.
anyway, still to this day, when I'm flying, I like to get window seats. I like views. I like when I land in New York and I see the skyline. I like when I land in Miami, I see the beach, or I land in Colombia and I like that stuff. It gets my brain going, right? But to answer your question, like, I would, especially in America, I would look on roofs to see how much solar was on roofs. You fly over Orlando, you see a lot of solar. You fly over Charleston, a lot of solar. Las Vegas, a lot of solar. And I would think, I bet you some of those people have solar. They got it from one of my leads. I sold a lead and they went solar. So I feel like I made an impact on their life and they're saving money. So to me, it comes down to the impact and the fact that you can you can affect someone's decision making and their purchasing behavior with what we do with digital marketing and sales, right? And you can positively impact them. So it's exciting to me. It's like they say when you work and do something you love, you're not working. I enjoy every single fucking minute of what I do because I feel like I'm making a difference. And it's challenging. You have like solar was hot for 6 years and then it started to change last year. And it was stressful, don't get me wrong, but then you look for the next thing. What else can I do? How can I diversify? So I think it's always a challenge. It's like that guy who was a billionaire. No matter how much we need purpose in life. It's not about the money, it's about the purpose. The money helps, don't get me wrong. It helps open up more ways to get purpose, right? But the point is that it's that fucking continual challenge of finding what's the next thing. And I'm wrong more often than I'm right. But the beautiful thing about this business, you only need one. It's like you have to make 300 phone calls to get one good lead. I had to make 1,500 calls to get one sale. I did that $100,000 sale, right? And that changed my life. All you need to do is find one good vertical or one opportunity, one offer, and once you crack that one, you could change your life. You could change your family's life, right? I interviewed a guy last week in New Orleans. His company sold for $800 million,
Crazy.
right? And it's like, it's just he found solar is what he did. He started, and his boss found it, started in the garage in Louisiana, sold his company for 825 million. He found the one thing. All you need is one thing to work, and once you make one thing work, other things could work. So that's what I like about digital marketing is that it's the whole world you can target. We haven't done much internationally. We're going to probably do a lot more internationally, probably end of this year, early next year. But it's like it's the gift that keeps on giving. People are online. I travel all over the world. I love to see what they're looking at on their phones, and I'm not doing it to be nosy. It's just everyone's on fucking TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. That's the new TV.
Yeah,
And if you're an
yeah,
internet marketer, those are all your audiences. It's just crazy. You go to a concert. When I was a kid, you had to light a match for lights. Now everyone puts out their phones. So when they put out their phones, those are all your customers. They're all buying something,
yeah.
right? And especially in America, people are addicted to spending money in America, whether that's good or bad. They fucking love to spend money. So that's your audience right there. So that's what gets me excited. Is I feel like it's the biggest playing field in the world that I'm playing in, and that every single day there's a new challenge. But challenges create opportunities, and it gets me fucking excited. I mean, I love it. I feel like I'll be doing this for the rest of my life, in some capacity, and I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Yeah. So, last question around the paper call model. So, for example, there are two things. One, you see an opportunity, let's say roofing, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to do two things. One is to, okay, as a media buyer, if I look at it, I'll create a landing page, I'll run ads, I will, take traffic on the website, and I will do leads generation. So, for example, I've got 100 leads in 1 week, right? Now, the next part is to find the buyers, right? And I've been attending affiliate from the last 3 years, and I see there are some, like, the websites where they buy all of this data. So for example, if a media buyer does leads generation into any vertical, is there any platform where that person can go and sell all the stuff, the data, leads, or calls?
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah, I was going to say that there's the best place to start with is a network, because a network has a lot of the buyer relationships. Now, your payouts will be most likely a lot smaller, not a lot smaller, maybe 10-20% less than you get with a direct buyer. But the hardest part is getting those direct buyers. So when you go to those shows like Affiliate World, you'll find some direct buyers there is what will happen. And then another site is OfferVault, OfferVault, offervault.com. You can go there and let's say you there's a search function, and let's say you're doing roofing or you're doing debt. You just type in debt and it tells you there's a bunch of networks advertising on there, right? So OfferVault is a good resource. The shows are a good resource. And then, like I said, one thing leads to another. You just got to take action. And if you're not taking action, you're not moving. You're dead. Once you start taking action, even if it's the wrong action, like my son, he'll bang his head. Oh, I made a wrong action. He cries. He fixes, gets back up, gets the right action. So the point is that going to the shows, subscribing to the websites, like Affiliate Summit. A lot of you are in Pakistan. I don't know if you can make it to the Affiliate Summits. They're in Las Vegas. They're in New York. But if you subscribe to their email newsletter, they'll send you newsletters. They'll give you some educational stuff. So it really starts with education, learning about what's out there, getting to the right places, and going to places like Offerville. Offerville, I think there's other ones. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. But the resources are out there. It's just a matter of you finding them. And then, like, even on my show, I talk to all these different people. I mean, there'll probably be some resources on the show that you can find as well. And then I'm going to Affiliate Summit next month. We're up
Hmm.
for an award for best podcast of the year, and I'm going to be interviewing a lot of people. I'm going to be talking to a lot of people. I mean, just follow the right people. Follow the money. You follow the money, you have a better chance of making some money as well.
Crazy. So, David, I saw that you are also into the business called, I believe, A Team. So, are you also into the staffing business, the virtual
Yeah,
staffing, online staffing?
yeah. We work with A Team. We do some good work with them, and I have I don't even know how many people I have from them anymore. I think I have 10 people from them. We've had very good success with all those people on our team.
Hmm. I
I'm
see.
sorry. I have someone in my office here. One
So
second.
take
Hi.
your time. Take your time.
Quick question. If any chance you have a car rental or something?
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
not me. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry. Well, I'm sorry.
That's
What
a
was the
great
question?
offer.
That was what?
Great offer. Call rental.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't have a car rental. I don't know what they're talking about. So anyway, yeah, car rentals. That's big too. That's those follow the money, follow stocks, follow publicly traded marketing, digital marketing companies. There's a lot of them. A lot of their stocks are down. But if you listen to their earnings calls, you'll find where the money's flowing. You'll find where they're making money on. So the bottom line is that it's all over. And speaking of stocks, Hertz Rent a Car was down like it was like 50 cents during COVID. Thing went to like 100. Carvana, I mean,
Crazy.
you follow I follow the stock market every day, right? And you got to follow where the money's at. And that also gives you ideas as well, right? And I heard the Pakistani stock market's been up too. If I haven't heard that wrong, so that means
Yeah.
money's flowing there. Money's flowing there, and a lot of that money is international money. So, what I will say over there, like I don't know, everyone probably lives in different places. Try to go to where the money is in Pakistan. I don't know the area. You know the area. You know where the rich people hang out. You know where the business. Try to hang out there. Stay at a fucking hotel there one day. You hear the conversations they're talking about. Go
Absolutely.
go to
Yeah.
some fancy restaurants. Treat yourself, and then you start to see things. You start to believe in it, and bam. But money's flowing there, and the people that take the action, that are hungry, that get better every day, you guys are going to capture that money, and then maybe you start traveling. Maybe you want to moving at some point somewhere else, but try to move to where the money's at. If you move where there's no money at, you're not going to make money. You got to be where the money's at to make money. I moved to Miami, tons of fucking money here. I'm making some deals here that I never thought were possible just because I'm close to them. Proximity. So that's another thing I'll say. Proximity is power.
Yeah. So, David, last question from my end. So, you have some exposure of this online staffing as well. You have an idea about the dynamics over here in Pakistan. So, what do you think the industries have the biggest potential over here in the outsourcing space, like the outsourcing of either it's the developers staffing, marketing staffing, assistant staffing? What do you think?
Yeah, and I got interrupted. I didn't get to finish on the A team. Yeah, A team's been great. We got 10 people with them at least. Hugely important. And what it comes down to, they collapse time frames. You need to remember I talked about who, not how. You need to have a lot of very capable who's on your team that are willing to work hard, learn, and provide value. And the good thing we get a reduced price point with them, right? Because we're not paying U.S. prices. So I think that's a big point you make in Pakistan. I know there's a lot of the workforce is educated. They work hard, and people in America, and it's happening all over the world. A lot of inflation. The price of everything is through the roof. So businesses want to cut costs. So virtual assistants is huge. Developers are huge. IT security is huge as well. So if you got a company that could be, we talked about lead gen, and I'm glad you talked about it. At the end of the day, if you're in business, you're trying to make money, you need to create value. You need to add value, and a lot of value. The more value you can add at a good price, the more money you're going to make, the more you're going to grow. So that to me that's not a hard sell. If you can, like we talked about someone that sent 150 DMs. If you go on LinkedIn and you have a good story, a good copy, and you target 200 companies and like, listen, I have a staffing company. We have virtual assistants at this price, and but you have to know what they charge in Colombia for virtual assistants, what they charge in Argentina, and you have to know who your competition is. Why is Pakistan better? It's got to be better, maybe because you guys are smarter, you work harder, or you save and you save the money. If you can do all three, save them a little bit of money, but you have to know what your competition is doing. So if you can come to them, listen, this is what we do, and you see that they're following another staffing company, maybe that means they're probably using that staffing company. Find out how much that staffing company is charging. If they're charging 10 an hour and you know that for a fact, you're like, listen, guys, I charge $8 an hour, and my staff does this, and we have testimonials. We do this. Give us a shot, and it's a big opportunity. I'll give you the first week for free, right? Get in there. You can do really well. So I think that the virtual staffing, the IT, the development, look, and cybersecurity is massive right now. You have AI impersonating people. I told my family, listen, if I ever call asking for money, it's probably not me, because a lot of old people get ripped off because of AI
Yeah.
and all this shit. So you can offer cybersecurity. There's so much you can offer. So that would be my thing. I mean, you have people are trying to save money in America in a big way because the businesses are there's a lot of taxes. There's a lot of everything, inflation for everything. The labor costs are going up. So if you come with a solution with cheaper labor, way cheaper labor, with better results that's dependable, that's the way you guys can get your foot in the door. So I would say it's a great business model aside from lead gen. It's probably better than lead gen, honestly, because with lead gen, you're just looking for people buying leads, and it's hard to find the right buyer. When it comes to IT, when it comes to cybersecurity, when it comes to virtual assistants, every business needs that, regardless if they're buying leads or not. So to
Yeah.
me, that's probably the biggest opportunity out there.
So glad to have you here today. At last, I would like to get some life advices from you for the entire community who's watching you
Okay.
right now.
Yeah. Just give me a minute because I'm gonna stick around for 5 to 10, but I'm gonna let my assistant.
Guys, if you have any questions in the meanwhile, please drop in the comments. In the last 5 minutes, I'll try to take a couple of questions as well.
Yep.
Uh, is reaching my target audience? I'm not sure how to do this. Yeah, man. Did you hear the last question?
Yeah. Target audience. Well, what kind of audience are they targeting?
So let's start with you. You just drop a couple of the some life advices, career advices, or the mindset advices, and I'll just check in the meanwhile
Yeah.
if we have
Well,
any
I want to answer that
question.
question about target audience because you have to become obsessed with your target audience. You have to know everything about them like the back of your hand, right? So I don't know what audience that person referring to, but for me, I worked in call centers. I was in sales, right? Uh, I'm very good at selling other salespeople. Salespeople are the easiest people to sell, especially for someone like me, because I know I'm a salesperson myself. I know that salespeople like energy, right? They like the sizzle, and for me, it's easy to sell them. So when I got into leads, salespeople buy leads, right? My friend was in solar, so I wanted to know more about solar. I see it's supposed to be selling statement jewelry. I don't know if the market's the U.S. or whatever, but I would say you got to know if it's statement jewelry. Going back to what I was saying about solar, is that you got to know your audience really well. You have to follow them, follow who's your audience on Instagram. What are they watching? Where are they eating? Where are they going? What kind of food do they like? Where do they shop at? Right? If they shop at Whole Foods, um, maybe target people at Whole Foods as message board. If they're going to Whole Foods, that means they like organic food. They're probably fucking looking for maybe they're vegetarian or whatever. They're more progressive, more liberal, right? Then you target people that are like on the conservative side of the fence. So you got to really know your audience. You have to get to know them, follow them, get to know what they're doing. Statement jewelry, I would imagine that's they're looking to make a statement about themselves. They're looking to kind of present something to the world, right? So maybe there's influencers or micro influencers you can work with, but yeah, find a company that's doing this successfully. These clues. Find a company in the jewelry space that's already doing this successfully, and look at how they're targeting. That's really the way to go.
Yeah,
How are they targeting their customers follow their Instagram? What are they doing on Instagram that's working? And copy them and follow them. Imitation is the
that's
highest form of flattery.
yeah. So it's all reverse engineering, right?
Reverse engineering it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hope
yeah,
that answered the question.
yeah. David, could you just drop your last piece of advice because I want to end this before an hour so that it gets auto saved.
Yeah.
So
What
you
I
will
was going to
upload
say
it
is,
on the YouTube as well.
yeah. What I was going to say is that my last piece of advice is learn how to sell. Become an expert at selling and read all the books you can. Get audible.com, buy books. I read a book, I listen or read a book once a month, and because I don't want to stop getting better. The most successful people I know, they're always learning. They're always trying to get better. I can always get better. So I would say is that just keep learning, keep following Shake over here. He knows what he's doing. He's got a track record of success. Follow successful people and learn how to sell, learn how to add value, and become obsessed with success. Become obsessed with being more successful every single day. At the end, before you go to, when you wake up in the morning, what's your intention for the day? What's one thing that'll make your life a lot better? Maybe that's working out. If you work out, you get more confidence. If you're more confident, you're going to sell better. But when you go to bed, review your day. Did I do what I said I was going to do? What could I have done better? Then you come tomorrow, you do that shit over again. That's what I do to this day. I have a book I write every night before I go to bed. What did I do? What didn't I do? And that keeps me organized. I'm not the most organized person in the world, but when it comes to my goals, I know I think about these all day long. I go to sleep thinking about my goals. You program your mind, and before you know, the shit starts to happen. That's what I would say.
David, I love you, man. I love your energy. I just couldn't realize it's already an hour we are speaking.
Yeah, no, I love it. This was great. We'll do this again, guys. I know there's a lot of questions here. Follow the show, subscribe to the show, read the Paper Call Revolution. I mean, a lot of the answers are there. But as long as once you become obsessed with this shit, it'll happen. Think about when you're trying to find the love of your life, maybe a person that you were trying to go out with. You thought about them all day long, right? And then you made it happen, right? There's something you obsess with in life that you made a reality. You become obsessed with success, obsessed with sales, it'll become a reality for you. I promise you.
I love you, man. I'll put all the links and mentions and the comment sections, and we'll just save it, put it up on the YouTube as
Yeah.
well. Share the link with public.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's fucking go, guys. Let's have
Let's
a good
fucking
day. Let's have a good
go.
month. Let's
Yeah,
have a
man.
good year. All right.
Thank you so much for being on the call. Love you,
Yeah.
David.
All right.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Take
Bye
care. See
bye.
ya.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
I enjoyed this.